The political crisis in Rivers State has escalated following a recent appeal court judgment that nullified the state's 2024 budget. The court ruled that the budget approval process did not adhere to required procedural guidelines, exacerbating the already tense political climate. This development follows weeks of unrest with legal battles and protests across the state. Allegations of corruption, electoral malpractice, and growing tensions between the governor's administration and opposition factions have further deepened the divide. Policy analyst and political commentator Jake Epelle now joins us to provide perspectives to the unfolding drama in Rivers State. Good morning, Mr. James Epelle. Good to have you on the morning show today.
Hi, good morning, and my first time on the morning show on the weekend.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. Thanks. I mean, it's nice having you on the weekend edition.
I've been on the weekdays, but this is
Absolutely, absolutely. This is weekend. Good to have you. All right, let's talk development in Rivers State. A lot of people will say that it is rivers of trouble or rivers of crisis, and the crisis is endless. What are your thoughts, given that almost every day there's new trouble? And now we're talking about the court judgment that is basically, asking the governor to represent the budget for 2024. We're in October, two more months to go. But then a lot of people are also saying that who will he represent it to, given the fact that the judgment didn't specifically return those who are said to have left the PDP party and therefore they have abdicated their seats. What are your thoughts on these rivers of crisis?
Well, it's, I think I'll put it the other way around. It's the events that is happening in Rivers State. The Rivers people are not people of crisis or people that is known for troublemaking or spreading trouble. However, there are individuals, politicians, who are desperate to grab power, and therefore they have tried the ballot box, trying to manipulate the ballot box in order to lay hold on power. And now they have moved one notch higher to manipulating the legal structures, therefore throwing the entire state and obviously the country into what is seen as constitutional crisis. However, peace will always prevail as long as the people are united. And in this case, the people of Rivers State are united. They're solid in their conviction, very focused in making sure that nobody, and I mean nobody, will move the state and her people into a political logjam. What they are doing is temporary. What is permanent is the resolve of the people not to give in, not to throw in the towel, by holding on and focusing and making sure that we support the sitting government to provide good governance. It's unfortunate that those who are behind this melodramatic or political logjam are just shamefully trying to push the state into a state of anarchy. But I can guarantee you that the people of Rivers State, which I'm very proud to be an indigent, we are people of peace, we are people of, we are smart people, and we are determined that peace will reign, whether they like it or not. These are enemies of progress. They are enemies of the people. If an individual with his group can sit in a place and decide that they will hold the destiny of the state and determine what happened and what doesn't happen, that's unbecoming of anyone that calls himself or herself a leader. Therefore, it's unfortunate that the judiciary is throwing themselves into this ring of trouble. But all I know is that lies varies, truth is constant, and at the end of the day, the people will win, not the politician or a particular individual who feels that the state is his and the entire resources of the state belongs to him. We have seen this playbook over and over and over again. Let them go back to history. The people who try to lead by this kind of hook and crook never succeed at the end of the day. Now, my brother, what amazes me is the fact that an individual will lead and establish what would have been seen as a legacy that would thrive and promote his leadership potentials. And that individual will sit down and want to wipe out his legacy with just constant trouble. That is unbecoming of a leader. And history will never be kind to those who wants to suffocate the people of Rivers State. Let them go and consult history. We have never failed. This time around, we will not fail.
Now, Mr. Epelle, I would like us, to look at the implications, of this appeal court ruling, because the judge ruled that the governor's withdrawal of the counter-affidavit suit to challenge the suit instituted by the Amawule-led lawmakers to be recognized as valid members of the House is a self-inflicted mistake, that cannot be redeemed because the governor actually withdrew that suit, challenging the validity of the Amawule-led faction as members of the House of Assembly. Now, you recall that the governor did that after the mediation from President Bola Tinubu, but, then peace was not achieved and we went back to this issue of this crisis. So now that the court has ruled, do you think there should be perhaps another intervention by the president, following this ruling?
Well, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't have an IQ of a mushroom not to know that you cannot institute legality on top of illegality. These 27 lawmakers, by constitutional provision, which everybody in this country knows, are totally and absolutely illegal. They are no longer existing as long as the Constitution and the political definition is defined by those who truly know political science. They are no longer existing. And so he cannot represent a budget before an entity that is termed illegal. As far as we are concerned, and as far as the Constitution is concerned, in spite of all sorts of private interpretation, the law is clear. These 27 members are no longer members of the House of Assembly. That's what the law has instituted. However, this manipulation of legal structure, provisions, and constitutional manipulation of individuals just because they have just discovered that they have made a mistake. Period. There is nothing like Amawule-led a House of Assembly. They have declared themselves illegal by decamping from the political party that ushered them into power. So where and who is he going to present the budget or represent the budget? To an entity that is not in existence? It's not possible. Therefore, let them keep manipulating the laws. Let them keep manipulating judges that they can manipulate. The people will stand by what is legally and morally seen as a precedent, because we need to be careful, because, these set of politicians that will keep manipulating the laws and the state assembly and the executive arm and the judiciary for their own personal benefit. We need to name them and shame them and put a stop to it. There is nobody where he is going to present any budget to, otherwise, that judgment should also, address the issue of the constitutionality of these individuals. And if they are truly constitutionally established, then the governor has every legal right and authority to represent the budget. I will not sit here and endorse illegality. And you cannot, like I said, you cannot try to undo illegality with a manipulated legal provisions. That's my personal opinion.
All right, Mr. Epelle, I get your point, but then talking legality and morality, a lot of people will wonder what is legal or moral in the governor trying to run the state with just 3 or 4 members or 3 or 4 lawmakers. That sort of what people call shenanigan has been condemned in other parts of the country. Edo, comes to mind, for example. And people will say, yes, if you say that 26 or 27 lawmakers have defected, but then what happens? For how long are you going to run the state with just 3 or 4 members of the House of Assembly?
Unfortunately so, but the same people that are the same people that are saying this had in the past and in the history of their governance manipulated this kind of thing and held it on to their own benefit. However, that's not a reason for the sitting governor to do what anybody can see as illegal. But how, like they kept saying, we need political solution, which I don't believe supersedes constitutional provision. But the point is simple. The situation right now makes it practically impossible for the sitting governor to do otherwise. Let the truth be told. The current situation created by these same people who are seen as trying to correct it, it makes it practically impossible for him to do otherwise. There is nothing, okay, is he going to shut down government just because certain group of people sitting somewhere wants to manipulate and strangle the destiny of the entire state? Is he going to shut down completely and not run government? That also will spell anarchy, So it is a very troubling situation, my brother. It's a very stormy situation, And right now, I think the governor is doing the best that he can do, bearing in mind that we don't have to shut down governance. And that's exactly what these individuals are looking for. And I guarantee you they cannot get it because the will of the people cannot be bent. We are very resilient people. We are true Democrats. The average Rivers man is a person and people, we are persons and people of civility. And we will continue to do what is right, both in the eyes of the law and in the eyes of the people. And so that's the situation that Fubara finds himself. And I want to say this categorically clear. Anyone who knows me, whether it's Fubara or any other person, Jake Epelle, I will come and defend that individual. It doesn't matter who the person is. What matters is what the person is doing to serve the people. And I've said it times without number. If Governor Fubara is listening to me, serve the people. If you serve the people, the politicians cannot touch you. Stay focused and provide governance and obey the rule of law, not when it pleases a certain element and group of people that wants to use the so-called their own definition of rule of law to manipulate the people. That does not count. The people have resolved that governance will continue in Rivers State and peace will thrive whether they like it or not. People like me will not keep quiet, and several others who are speaking, we will continue to speak truth to power. They don't need to like our face. I don't need anybody or anything from anybody. I will continue to do what I know that I'm doing, not for myself, but for the benefit of the entire Rivers people. We are true Democrats, and no one can cause us to do otherwise.
Well, very well said, Mr. Epelle. And talking about the rule of law, the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike, is insisting that the governor should follow the court verdict, in order to bring peace to the state. But then some analysts are worried that if he does that, he will be impeached, just a matter of time. So which brings to the fore the issue of stronghold of godfathers in Nigerian politics. How do we begin to disassemble this? How do we begin to pull down this stronghold? Let me borrow, from the religious parlance.
Exactly. Well, the thing about godfatherism and political manipulations of structures, you will keep doing what you're doing until one day what you're doing will work against you. Whether anybody likes it or not, the pendulum has swung to the other side. Whether anybody wants to manipulate or not, there is no longer, that issue of the so-called godfatherism in Port Harcourt has been broken. The so-called structure has been shattered, and it is no longer business as usual. Therefore, I stand here, I sit here to absolutely and totally condemn godfatherism. People say, well, you're not a politician, and there will always be godfatherism. It's not true. A straightforward individual who have served his people and served well, there is no way the power can be taken from you. I mean, we saw an example of someone that is described as inexperienced politician, but who had strong personal values, winning election in Benue State, and that's the governor of Benue State. Who is his political godfather? He never had any, and he emerged because the people believed in him. The same thing is happening today, whether anybody likes it or not. Let these people that are trying to assert themselves and empower themselves to manipulate the people, let them come today and conduct a free and fair election against the sitting governor. They will be disgraced because what they have done have popularized Fubara, not because of what he can do, not because of what he's doing, but because the people knows that they are trying to suffocate him. They are trying to make him do otherwise. And he's not willing. Let me tell you the truth. And I want to be very upfront with you. Yes, I come from the same place with Fubara. That's not why sometimes I speak in his favor. It's simply because I know the man. I've sat down with him. There is innate intention and honesty in his heart to do what is right. The problem is that they see him as a threat to their conduit pipe of siphoning the resources of River State. Let the truth be told. And he's resisting them, he's standing for the people, and the people are standing for him. If not the fact that, one, God is with this young man, and the people are with him, he would have been taken out long time ago. But they cannot. They took him for granted, and now that they are seeing that history is on his side, the people are on his side, politics and political landscape is on his side, and he will continue to win. Fubara eventually will be seen as a hero of democracy because what he's doing is not fighting for himself. He's fighting for the people. And let me also underscore this. Fubara is not interested in the office as much as he's interested in serving the people, period. Whether anybody likes it or not, that's my observation, and I've seen it in him. I can tell by looking at the lips of a man what is in his heart. Truly and really, he's not interested in all the shenanigans.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's good to know, Mr. Epelle, but I'm sure that you followed the warning by the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, that if the current crisis in River State is not tackled fully, that it might take us, it might be a reminiscent of the wild, wild west bad old days, of the First Republic. And so, in order to avert that, there's a school of thought that says that if the president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, sits down today with 4 people, that there will be progress. And the 4 people that school of thought has mentioned, essentially, is the sitting governor, Sim Fubara, and then 3 of the previous governors, past governors in Rivers State, Mr. Peter Odili, Rotimi Amechi, and Nyesom Wike. So the school of thought says that if President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu sits down with those 4 people, that a lasting solution will come out of that intervention. The president has intervened before, as you are aware, but do you think that if he gives this suggestion a chance, that truly Rivers can find peace?
Yes, I listened to Tony Cole, my good friend, and it makes sense, his postulations, But I think I'll add one more person to that list, Rufus Ada George. These are living governors, and many of them served us well. I think we might get a political and constitutional solution, because I've always been an advocate of, first, the Constitution, 2, then we can talk about solution. So I will add one more to that list, and that's Rufus Ada George. Why? Because these are leaders who have led the state and brought meaningful development and exited when it was their time without trying to destroy the state, And so, yes, it makes a lot of sense if the president will be willing to toe that line, putting them in the room, and him as the father of the nation and their father to virtually all of them, he can sit down with them and look them in the eye and say, look, gentlemen, let's look for lasting solution, And I think that's the way to go. Especially the likes of Rotimi Amechi and his brother Wike, those 2, and then the sitting governor, Dr. Peter Odili, and like I said, I'll add one more to that list, and that's Rufus Ada George. They are especially Rufus and Dr. Peter Odili, they are leaders who led the state and brought a lot of peace, and you can trace the history of these 2 individuals, Amechi and Wike, from Peter Odili. Peter Odili can be seen as their boss. And so bringing all of them into one room and giving them a sense of direction will be the way to go. The political landscape of our dear River State cannot be destroyed by individuals who have instinct for self-destruct. We will not allow them, because sometimes, my brother, when you look at these people, even the way and manner they speak, in spite of the platform that they are provided to speak, you begin to wonder. We just celebrated Mental World Health Day. You begin to wonder, are they really, is something wrong? Are they driven by the spirit of alcoholism or drugs? Because sometimes what they say doesn't make sense. It does not make sense, whether it's intellectual sense, moral sense, or legal sense. And many of them are well educated. So I think we might find a solution if the president is committed to it, and if he knows he's going to be absolutely neutral and play the role of a statesman and a father of the nation, he can find solution. He can find solution. Now, the reason why the previous arrangement did not work was that previous arrangement was a bit one-sided, and I don't think it was something that was discussed by everybody and arrive at a solution. Rather, I saw something that looks like an imposition. You know, this is what I want, you do it, or you face the consequence. You know, and when you're trying to negotiate and you're adding threat to that negotiation, you can get a temporary relief. The person walks out because he respects you, but implementation will be very, very difficult for that individual to implement.
Well, very sporting.
I know Fubara. Fubara is younger than me. Yes. Fubara is younger than me. He's a very respected person.
Mr. Jake Epelle, thank you so much for joining us on the morning show. We've really enjoyed this discussion with you. Mr. Jake Epelle is a policy analyst and political commentator.